So, okay, let's get into it. Somebody asked me why I haven't done a rant on the latest police shooting. And that's not really what this vlog was for. This is supposed to be for my family. This is a family vlog. Family that likes taking vacations, that likes, participating in sports activities, stuff like that. But I see now that even though that's my intentions, was just to show all the beautiful things of life, that we do need to address some of these other issues. So, and both of them really come down to kind of simple things that I've voiced before, and that's gun control. Both of these latest large public stories really comes down to gun control, no matter how you want to look at it. The first thing that happened was a young man was shot at over 90 times and actually hit 61 times by police officers. Now, I kind of have a different perspective on this whole situation. I think we've kind of sussed through most of the information that's probably going to come out on this story. But we have two different issues. We have a mental health issue where we have a young black man who just lost someone he had been in a relationship for a long time, and I know at 25 years old, I think the relationship he was in was over 2 years. That's a long time for a 25-year-old. So he might have been in some distress. And we found out that earlier this same day, or that morning, he was involved in a traffic stop where he didn't stop. And people are kind of trying to frame this as he had a felony. The car was involved in a felony earlier. The reason this is considered a felony is because he didn't stop. It was basically a felony flee. There was an additional charge associated. It was the same broken tail light and brake light that was out on the vehicle. So we saw this individual do this earlier in the day, and then we see him do it later on that night, where the police actually pursued. What came out in that earlier issue was he crossed city lines, so the police didn't continue the pursuit. So that's why that pursuit stopped. It wasn't anything crazy. It just, you crossed city lines, let's stop our pursuit. It's just a brake light. So, of course, the same police heard about additional pursuit later on. So, what's going on here? Same police. This guy's has he been at work since earlier that morning? Heard about a pursuit on the same vehicle, which is also kind of interesting. Next thing you know, they report that they saw a muzzle flash, not during the stop. There wasn't any shots fired during the initial stop, but during the pursuit after the young black man didn't stop for the traffic citation. So, they're pursuing a vehicle. They say they saw a muzzle flash, okay? Possible it was dark. So, yeah, you saw a muzzle flash. And they took that as they were being fired at. Now, they saw one muzzle flash. One muzzle flash. They found one spent round in the area, which is also kind of, this is crazy that they always find these rounds, but I guess they're professionals at it. Being in the military, we would have to collect what we called our spent brass after we fired hundreds of rounds downfield. And trying to find all those spent rounds, even in an enclosed area when we weren't driving or being pursued by the police, was a difficult task. And we were basically laying in the area that was basically laid out for us to do this. But they say they saw a muzzle flash. They say this muzzle flash was captured on video camera. And all that came out before we saw a lot of this body cam footage. So, and there's your gun issue. There's your firearm issue. We have an individual that's under distress that has a firearm. And I really look at this situation as a kind of a sad situation where you're thinking maybe it was, you know, what they call suicide by cop. And the cops were all too happy to oblige by 61 shots, which is amazing. They saw one shot during the pursuit, or they saw a muzzle flash. Nobody was injured, no cars were hit, but they saw a muzzle flash during the pursuit. And they took that as a chance to fire 61 shots into one individual person. That is astounding by any stretch of the imagination. So we have that. Like I said, did he deserve it? Nobody deserves 61 shots fired into their body. Nobody. No, you know, I don't care what the situation is. All I do, but in this situation, you have somebody running away, fleeing. They say they think he reached for his waist, and if you think about somebody running, their hands are always going to go near their waist because of the normal body motions of running. So they'll always have that excuse to use. He was going to his waist. We thought he still had the firearm. So we move on to the really unfortunate situation of the parade, where we have another distressed individual able to obtain multiple firearms. And he took out his frustrations, and he took out his anger with the world, with himself, on families at a parade. And I know everybody wants to make it about mental health, but two things can be true. We can have a mental health issue while at the same time having an issue where people who we know have issues controlling their emotions, and these people that have these issues controlling their emotions are able to secure a firearm. And not just one firearm, they can secure multiple firearms. And not just the firearms that we deem are good for self-defense, but assault rifles, which is, you know, you can get up on a building and people are like, why weren't the rooftops secured? Go around to any building, any hotel you stay in, and, you know, look at the security just trying to get up on the rooftop. These things are left open just so people can service AC units and whatever else is on the roof. You know, everybody wants to say, oh, it'll be a military state if we start regulating firearms. But if we don't, then we're taking away all of the things we enjoy. So the only enjoyment you'll have left is that firearm. And I don't want to live in a world where my only enjoyment is the safety and security provided to me by a firearm. I want my children to be able to enjoy school recess, school plays, school football games. I want them to be able to enjoy parades, outdoor functions, concerts. But to say we have to give up all of that just so we can have any and every firearm possible makes no sense. And to say we can solve this issue by throwing money at mental health doesn't fully examine the entire problem. So the guy who shot all of these people at a parade was able to be taken into custody, which is interesting. And a lot of people will yell, well, he gave up. Well, he gave up after he, dressed up like a female, they said, to evade cops, went home, stole his parents' car, and was trying to get out of the area. But luckily, we had some idea who this guy was, and he gave up. He didn't run. So I guess that allowed him to live, while the other individual, who probably ran fearing for his own life, who knows what happened with the gun. You have individuals that get these firearms, and he might have been trying to hide this gun. Gun goes off. We've seen guns accidentally go off with trained professionals. So, he knew he was in trouble once that gun went off. So he ran. And I'm not sure we can blame him for running with the history of policing in America. And I think that's my entire rant. I want people to enjoy stuff more than spewing hate out there and hating everything. Hating each other. Oh, we hate the president. Oh, we hate rich people. We hate poor people. We hate immigrants. There's more hate out here, and there's very little enjoyment. And if people would just take the time to put as much effort into enjoying this world as they do into hating, there's a possibility we can get out all of this. And that's it. That's my rant.